We're in the sheep barn for the FFA Sheep Show, and this year there are 245 exhibitors showing 325 sheep in 20 classes. But it all comes down to one winner. This year, the judge is Josh Coons from Seymour, Texas.
So my judging career actually started, I was a 4-H and FFA student as well, and started showing sheep when I was 10, and so that's where kind of my passion began for livestock. And growing up on a farm in central Indiana, I got a livestock judging scholarship to Texas Tech University, and so I started judging at 18, some county fairs through Indiana and Illinois, and do about 30 shows a year roughly. So my day job, I'm actually a county extension agent for 4-H and ag both in Baylor County, Texas. Prior to that, I was a high school ag teacher for 8 years in both Indiana and Texas as well. So today in market lambs, you know, it doesn't vary from show to show. My priorities in selecting a good market lamb are the same. A market animal has to look like a show animal. It's a livestock show, so they have to be well cared for. They have to have that quality look and that show ring presence out there, and they have to be a market animal. So they have to combine the carcass traits that are, you know, deemed necessary by the industry in terms of muscle and fat cover and that sort of thing. So really, you look at the whole animal. It needs to be a combination of a lot of good traits, and at the end, I always ask myself, which one is the hardest one to make from a breeder's perspective or standpoint? Which one is the hardest one to develop over a time of breeding and genetics? I think the type of livestock that we're raising has changed. And if you look back into the 60s and 70s, in particular cattle were really small framed, heavy muscled cattle. They were low to the ground. Sheep were kind of the same. And then we went to an increase in size, frame size. Well, we've brought that back down, and now we're kind of moderating livestock again and still having an acceptable amount of muscle. So I think just by maybe some of the industry trends, we've seen just better livestock being raised, I think, and more emphasis on muscle and structure and that combination. So I'll try to talk to every kid that comes in the gate. On the microphone, it's really hard to go through and discuss 25 or 35 kids in every class and their lambs. And to be honest, you know, a kid's attention span is very brief, and a parent's is even more brief, I think. And so I try to discuss the top 5 on the microphone, and then I'll talk individually to those kids throughout the show on, you know, why did you place last? You know, they deserve, I think, an explanation. I was that kid one time that got a lot of brown ribbons, and they said participation on them. And so that's how I got better by judges just telling me, hey, this one needs more muscle, or you need to get more fat on this lamb, or it needs less fat. So I try to offer just a little bit of information to each kid as I place them, and hopefully they can work with that with next year's project. So just like to see him handle a little bit fresher over his loin and rack, okay? Like to see him handle just a little bit harder right through here, okay? Good heighted, good presented, just a little bit more tone, all right?
And Phoebe Sanders of Clarion Goldfield FFA is our grand champion. She's a junior at Iowa State studying ag business.
My sheep weighed 137 pounds. He was from Salinas, and his name was Cap. Yeah, I won the state fair last year, but it wasn't the real fair, so this means a lot more.
Well, that's all from the sheep barn. Congratulations to all our winners.